Kiriko is just a truck crashing into a wall with you right in the middle of it. Like, it's not. There's nothing appreciable or convenient about that whatsoever.
It's not a truck; it's a dump truck. There's no grace. There's
burning
shit
tar
flying everywhere. It's on fire. It stanks like hell, and you're like, God, get me out of here.
Yeah.
It's a car crash you don't want to look at because it sucks.
Can we quote that?
What?
We
can.
Kiriko's personality is a car crash that you don't want to watch because it sucks. Hello everyone, it's been a little while. We're back with Big Brain Boogaloo. It has, again, been a little while. Things have happened. The game is not what it was, and I mean that in the most literal sense. Yeah, we have...
It's falling apart.
We have a few things to talk about. So we have Ness here.
Hi.
And we have Ian.
Good day to you all.
Yeah, so this is, oh boy, where are we going to start with this? We're going to start with the bugs, probably. We're going to start with the bugs.
God, this is like one of the buggiest patches we've ever had for Overwatch. Like, right out the gate, three characters just don't work well.
Right.
Kiriko having teleportation issues, Sigma being able to fly infinitely in his ultimate, Ramatra and Doomfist's block not working at all.
Shit.
Just amazing. And that's like the low end of the bugginess.
Right.
The screen shaking whenever you hit anything.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure there's more. I've just forgotten at this point. But it's an entire just laundry list of terrible bugs that have struck the game all at once.
Yeah. This patch wasn't the rebuild one, right? That was the start of Season 4, not this mid-season
Yeah, no,
rebuild?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so every once in a while they So how updates normally work is they add to a game, right?
Yeah.
So every once in a while they just refresh the original game and then add to that again.
Right.
Yeah, so they refreshed it in Season 4, and now they've added to it again, and somehow this has fucked everything up.
Shit. Alright, well, that makes sense, I guess. It's a mess.
Yup.
But I mean...
I wonder, how does this happen? Like, what are they doing?
I think they're cooking spaghetti in the game code.
They're doing something.
Someone dropped the pasta all over the game.
It's I don't know. Ironically, it sounds like the tech side of the game company is a little iffy these days. It's I don't know. I've just noticed that they have a bunch of weird technical issues.
Probably because they're pushing updates a lot faster now.
Yeah.
Whether or not they need to be there is a different question, right? Because they're just kind of updating for update's sake nowadays.
In the worst ways. But, yeah, the bugs have been... I haven't really played much. I've played... I played like maybe 10 minutes of Ramatra the other day, and I did notice the issue.
Daring today, aren't we?
I know. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just... How did we get here? Like, I don't... Do they... I don't know. I would be curious to, actually go into the office and, see what the process is like, because I get the sense that it's, maybe not the most streamlined.
Yep, perhaps.
Yeah. I get a strong sense of chaos internally.
As far as I know, they do a lot of playtesting, but whatever they've been playtesting must not have been the same patch.
Right.
Or they didn't playtest everything, which is also possible, that no one on the dev team plays Doomfist, Kiriko, Ramatra, or
Sigma.
Lifeweaver, probably, because he hasn't been changed. Look at him, he's still dog shit.
What do you mean they haven't changed him?
They've changed them. Well, I mean, the mid-season patch didn't do anything.
They're fucking reworking him. He's been out for a month.
Yeah,
They said they're potentially reworking one or two of his abilities.
That's just, it's so wild to me. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I get the sense that a lot of characters, they just don't play, and like a lot of the playtesters just don't like have experience on a lot of the heroes. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't think it takes much experience on like Sigma to realize that, you know, reducing the damage and then giving it a longer stun is actually just, you know, a bigger problem.
That's just worse for everyone. The Sigma player's having a worse time. Everyone else is having a worse time. Why? I
don't get it. Why? Like, they were literally saying for years, or not years, they were saying for like months that, you know, Sigma's the most balanced tank, and it was like, what happened?
What they changed?
Why'd you change anything? Everyone was like, this is great.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So yeah, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. The game just like it ain't it without the Sigma combo. So I mean, I'll find something else to do with my life, I guess. But I don't know what they also Ian, they recently changed the duration on the adaptive shields for ball. Is that like, did you feel that's justified, or is it just sort of like the whatever? Here's a change.
It's insignificant.
Yeah, it's one of those changes where it's like it doesn't actually change anything, and so like I guess they changed it to sort of like simplify it. So it's like, oh, we don't want ball rolling around with extra shields when he's not using them. So I guess that's why. Because in terms of gameplay and his power as a hero, it changes nothing.
Right.
Absolutely nothing.
No. I mean, you're only using adaptive shields on an engage anyways, so
usually,
like, the only scenario where this would matter if you engage on multiple enemies, none of them hit you, and then you engage again with the same shield health.
Right.
That's the only situation in which this would matter, which never came up.
That's like unlikely, yeah.
Like, oh no, ball can't do a second engagement with the same shield health.
Right, but like, you can't even do that normally.
No.
You could try, and then it'll run out partially through, and you'll just die. So...
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, Zek was saying this before. It's like, they seem to just be doing change for the sake of change, and like 90% of the time, the changes they make are like just worse, because they seem to have this like fundamental issue with just allowing the game to, you know,
settle
and be balanced, which I don't understand.
Or be fun.
Like, yeah, like I maybe I'm unusual, but for me, a game that's constantly changing is not a fun game. It's like, a game constantly changing is just unstable and annoying. It's anxiety-inducing.
Yeah, it can be anxiety-inducing.
I just don't understand this idea that we have to constantly change the game. We have to constantly change up the meta. I'm like, if you constantly change up the game and the meta, like, how the fuck is anyone going to get better at the game? Like, how do you expect people to like practice and improve if the goalpost is constantly moving?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of disagree on that one. I mean, I don't agree with all the change for change's sake. I think change should certainly have intention behind it and like a clear goal to actually accomplish something. But I also like how things just sort of change, and it's like, oh, metas sort of shift. It keeps the game interesting because it's not just the same. It's not literally the same game you've been playing for 7 years at this point.
Yeah,
it's like a bit different, you know, which I like. But yeah, recently, over the past couple months and seasons, it does feel like a lot of the changes just don't really do anything.
And when they do, they're kind of bad.
Yeah, and then when
it's like, we're gonna remove Roadhog from the game. That's the sort of changes that have an impact. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like when they do make a change that actually has intention behind it, it's like way too hard.
Or it's just like,
Yeah.
or it's just like I mean, let's be honest. Blizzard has always been terrible at predicting the actual consequences of the changes they make, and I feel like we're finally seeing the effects of the Roadhog stuff, and like, I don't know. I feel somewhat vindicated. I feel like this is pretty much exactly what I was worried would happen.
What?
It's just sniper hell. It's just
No, but Hog was in Sniper Hell.
well, yeah, but I mean the idea with
Like nothing has changed. The Hog changes actually didn't do anything but remove Hog from the playable roster.
I get it, but what I'm saying is like, because I mean, at least for me, one of the ways that I would use Hog is I would use Hog to get into like positions where I could just unexpectedly hook the sniper, and that's largely how I used Roadhog, but it's
That works
part
in
of what I
quick
did.
play. Don't work in comp.
I don't know. I used to do it in comp, but it's I don't know. I feel like removing Roadhog has had more negative effects than people anticipated, but I largely anticipated. They also changed the Mercy thing, which I thought was pretty funny.
They changed that a few patches ago, even.
Yeah, I just
Uh,
I don't know. They seem to either be like stupidly stubborn in sticking to their terrible ideas, or like not stubborn at sticking with anything, depending on what they're doing. Like they either are like way too stubborn or way too like fluent, and just sort of like go with whatever.
I mean, to give you a good example of this that is totally not biased at all, Smile, they are considering redesigning Sombra like 3 times in a row.
Right.
But, most they've done to Widow is remove 25 health, and that's done exactly nothing but change her win rate.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I think the thing with Widowmaker is like, and Ian and I have said this, like, she's annoying, but I don't think the solution to Widowmaker is to no longer have her be Widowmaker, where she can one-shot from a range. I think the solution with Widowmaker is just to make it easier to get to her.
Yeah, more dive
By
options.
reducing her range.
Maybe, but I think it's...
Because nothing can interact with her at the moment. People have speculated that the only thing that'll actually matter in changing her is her range.
Well, yeah,
or her
but
damage, but at that point she'd lose her character.
It's a sniper, so I feel like the best thing they could do is like, I don't know, they could certainly increase the cooldown on the grapple, but that doesn't do much. So
Like,
I don't.
Okay, at what point do you just say like, okay, well, we're done making the character fucking unplayable. You guys keep making it broken. Just reduce the damage or the range.
I mean, I would say that what I could certainly agree to is the idea that she does 100 damage with the shot, and it just has, the double multiplier, the usual double. Like, that's fine. It just does 200 damage. That one shots. It's like...
You see how well that went for Sojourn?
Well, yeah, but, like, Sojourn is, like, it's just... Sojourn is, like, Widowmaker, but, like, arguably worse because she moves around.
It's Widowmaker, but it's in the effective range of other characters.
That's true, but keep in mind that, I feel like they should do 2 things to Widowmaker. They should make it so that she does a maximum of 200 damage, and I think they should, have the charge time be higher. Like...
That would make her suck to play.
I mean, but that's the thing, right? Like, there comes...
You can keep her being, like, quite good if you can just keep her in range. Like, I don't... As much as I'm biased against Widow, I don't want her, like, completely unplayable.
I don't either. I'm just saying, I think when it comes to Widowmaker, I think what you need to focus on is the fact that she can just get a pick from a very long range. I think the issue is how often she can do it, and the heroes that she can do it to, right? Like, when you're playing like, Zarya, and you get headshot by a Widowmaker, it's like, holy shit.
You are just dead.
She's a tank buster, but like if it just did a maximum of 200 damage, it's not that big of a deal anymore.
Imagine playing open queue, dude. There's tanks with 300 health.
Oh, I know, yeah. I think that's stupid, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's stupid that they would ever give, any tank 300 health.
You can one tap Ramatra in open queue.
It's just what the fuck, man. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is how it's going to go, right? They're going to make the worst possible change to Widowmaker, and then they're never going to change it again. And we're just going to be stuck with that.
What do you think would happen if Widow just became as non-existent as Roadhog is currently?
I think how would that affect actually improve?
But like, what exactly would change? Like who would start domineering the playground, so to say?
Who would dominate? I think Brawl would be...
Brawl.
No, actually...
Poke.
That's a good question.
Maybe like...
What would...
I
actually, here's my theory. Dive would be worse somehow.
Dive would be worse. I feel like
because they no longer have something that they should theoretically counter.
I feel like what would happen without Widowmaker being in the picture would just be like, it's just what would dominate is just Poke without Widowmaker. I think that's literally what would happen.
Yeah, no, but I kind of feel like that as well. Like Soldier and Sojourn would just sort of fill in. Things would just like grow slightly closer together because of the range difference.
But I think that'd be healthier for the game, because the problem with current Poke is that you can play Widow in it, and way you are untouchable.
But I also think that it's we don't want Widowmaker.
I think if Poke plays on a slightly closer range, everyone gets to play Overwatch while Poke is in the picture, right?
Well, you're true.
Because if people are playing Poke now, you're trying to prevent the other team from playing.
Yes, that's true. But what I'm also saying is that we run into the issue where we don't want this hero to be just bad, right? And so,
well, do we?
No, we don't.
Right. Well, then at least make it manageable.
Yeah, so I feel like a good way to make it... Because you say you don't want to kill the character, right? And I'll be honest with you, putting a range limit on the character kills the character.
That doesn't kill the character. Look at Hanzo, right?
Right.
If we give him a lethal range of 5 meters, he would still do the exact same thing.
No,
he would not be any worse. Actually, most Hanzo players don't even want the headshot on him anymore.
That makes
because
no
he's
sense.
A Brawl character.
Okay, that's weird.
Yes, Hanzo has played most in Brawl.
But no, I feel like you just kind of kill the character at that point, and so I feel like you have to work around the fact that 1, she's going to one shot, and 2, it's going to be from a distance, and so I feel like if
you can lower the distance without being like, it's currently too high. You can remove it a few meters from it, right? And see how that affects the character.
I mean, you could, but
the 70 meters is uninteractable.
True,
that's
but
the entirety of Ilios Ruins.
But at the same time, right? It's like it's kind of against the spirit of the character, which is something that
you can have it be 50 meters. That's still higher than any other character in the game.
I guess that's true, but kind of what I'm saying is like, Overwatch has had a problem with like killing the spirit of characters lately, and I don't really want to see it happen with another character, even if it's one I don't like. So it's I don't know. I feel like Widowmaker, as I said, I feel like the answer to Widowmaker is just to, maybe reduce her health to 150.
That would make Widow suck to play.
I don't know, like, because the thing is,
like, she already... Look at what they did to Ball, right? They're like, all right, you guys don't like Widow? Let's Giga buff Ball.
True. And
then it did nothing to her viability at all. It just made Ball more annoying in the Widow matchup.
True, but I also feel like the 150, especially... Here's an idea, right? Actually, no, that's a dumb idea. I was gonna say there are games that do reverse fall off, but that's dumb. So I don't know. I feel like we could certainly have a sort of thing where, maybe, I don't know, maybe she, because I still feel like 150 health is somewhat the answer here, because
It's an answer, but is it the answer?
I feel like it is the answer in some extent, especially if you allow her to keep her range, which I think is in the spirit of the character. And so, heck, you could increase her, because I kind of envision like the perfect Widowmaker, right? Is like a character that can move around decent bit, right? And she can one shot from a distance. She does 200 damage with a one shot, but at the same time, if you do manage to get within range of her, she just dies. And to be fair, there are plenty of characters that already do that. So I don't think that's a problem.
But currently, she is both too survivable and has too high of a range to. Well, she has. Yeah, she's in a spot.
Yeah, I mean, if she did 200 damage and she kept her range, but she lost 50 health and she had more mobility on the grapple, I think we'd have a fine character. Because then that would actually also open up a better niche for Ashe, which is good.
Which would be countering Widow, funnily enough,
yes,
at that point.
And
finally, Ashe has a niche.
And
counter Widow.
Yeah, and, you know, it would just be a healthier overall ecosystem, right? Because if being an ecology student has taught me anything, it's that you have to treat Overwatch like an ecosystem.
I mean, it is.
Yeah. So, yep, that's that.
Speaking of things that kind of suck right now, let's talk about Overwatch's newest hero.
Oh, yeah.
Lifeweaver.
Lifeweaver is a character of all time. It's
I like the character. I like playing the character, but he's just so dog shit.
I love the character, like the character, right? Like I like his personality. I like his vibe. I love it. It's just
he's annoying in a good way.
He's annoying in a good way.
Yes, that's the perfect way to put it.
It's just that he's like, in terms of like the actual gameplay, it's just like the classic Overwatch, right? Where like the story and the lore and the vibe and the aesthetic is on point, but then the actual gameplay is just dookie doo-doo dog shit. So it's just...
Oh no, the gameplay I'd like, but it's just really... It's like they gave the character all the potential, but zero stats.
I guess. I mean, I'm still very uncertain about the grasp thing. I looked at that and I was like, this is a mistake.
Literally on announcement, people were like, this is a mistake, don't do this. And guess what?
It's been a mistake.
It's kind of divisive even now.
Also, can we talk about how the grasp has a 20-second cooldown, but Suzu has a 14-second cooldown?
Yeah,
and Roadhog Hook has an 8-second cooldown.
6-second cooldown, which is just it's so bad.
Your hog hooking your teammate has a higher cooldown than Suzu, the strongest ability in the game. And I'm not kidding when I say that. No one can convince me it isn't the strongest ability.
It breaks the game by existing. Yeah, I know.
It does knockback. It makes people immortal. It heals people. It cleanses people. It prevents knockback. It prevents physical objects from interacting.
It makes them Moira fade, basically.
Yeah, it makes you Moira fade. It's so busted, but it has a 14-second cooldown.
Do you think the reason that they gave Life Grasp such a long cooldown is just so it can't be trolling people with it?
Yeah, I literally think that's the only reason the cooldown is this high.
Yeah.
I get the sense that's the case as well. It's
there's no other reason to have it be this long. It's literally to prevent trolling, and when you have to do that to an ability, you probably should rethink the character to begin with.
Right.
Are we increasing cooldowns to make the character worse to prevent people from trolling with the character? Yes. We should probably redo it. Because that's the thing with Lifeweaver, right? Lifeweaver's abilities, they have great potential, but they have equally high potential of helping the opponent's team.
Yes.
Life Grip is usually just Roadhog Hook.
Usually.
For the enemies.
Yes.
It puts people out of position. Pedal platform. If Lifeweaver stupidly leaves it up, can also help the opponent team.
Yes.
It's just not great. And they had his stupid little parting gift, which also helped the enemy team.
Okay, so I have a hot take about that, right? I think they should keep it. It's just that it should only heal allies for like 75 health. That's it.
I mean, that's probably a cool idea. But, like...
I don't see why they needed to have it heal the enemy as well. I don't see why that was ever a thing.
So I think, actually, there is potential in having a character who can potentially help both teams if played incorrectly. But
I mean, a lot of characters already do that.
No, like, Lifeweaver is uniquely stupid with that.
Okay.
But, like, if you're going to make a character like that, and if they fuck up, they are actually helping the enemy team with actual stats and actual positions.
True.
You should make the character at least good at helping your team.
Right.
Which currently, he heals.
He does heal.
He does heal. That's all he does.
He's like...
Didn't they say he had like the highest healing output or something like that?
He has the second highest healing output behind Moira. It's like, oh cool, he lets his team feed so hard because he does nothing else.
I still think...
He's forced to heal because he can't do anything else.
Can't do anything
That's
else.
why his healing is so high.
It's like...
Oh, like, the best character in the game would never have a high healing stat because they would win the game before having to heal.
True. That's true.
And Lifeweaver has to heal.
That's true. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like there are...
That's why, like, that's the differentiating factor between good and bad Mercy play, right? A good Mercy would never have to heal.
Right.
Because they'd be damage boosting and killing everyone instead. If you get what I mean. Like, healing is just a fixed damage taken.
Yeah, it's just like a reverse damage, basically.
Yeah. Well, no, damage is free. You can just apply damage to people, but healing is only done when they've already taken damage.
Right.
Right, but it's like reverse damage in that, like, you know, it's like the more damage they deal, the more you have to back it up, basically, by healing. So it's like if you're preventing the enemy from dealing damage, then you don't have to do as much healing. It's the same point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Basically, he's forced to heal because he's dog shit. That's what I mean.
Yes, he offers nothing else, and thus only offers inverted damage.
Yeah,
by healing.
I have a question for you, Ian. When you were playing him, you know, in your little content creator sessions, right? Did you get the sense that this was going to be the case, or is this sort of like now that he's in the live servers, you're realizing this?
I mean, honestly, when it comes to the test server, the like actual balance of those sort of like closed pug matches is just so all over the place that you cannot get a feel for new characters and stuff like that.
Okay.
It simply doesn't happen. Like maybe someone who's like far more in tune and like high skill level would be able to get a better feel, but for someone like me, I gain nothing in terms of understanding how effective a character is out of playing in those matches. It's simply me looking at the abilities, looking at how they work, getting a feel for the just mechanics of the abilities themselves, and then making judgments based on that.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, even from the test server, it was like, there were a lot of like questions in terms of like, what the hell is this guy like actually going to do? Like he's so, especially with Lifeweaver, he's so bizarre of a character, so unique in terms of what he actually brings as a hero that it's like I didn't know what to expect from him in game, just based off of the test server.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I remember around release, some other creators who were also in the closed alpha for Lifeweaver did have some criticism, like, yeah, this character is kind of poo-poo dog shit. Please buff him a bit. And then they did. I think they changed part of him slightly. They buffed
his healing, like very slightly.
Yeah, they buffed his healing like speed at which it comes out. And like Blizzard somehow thought that was enough. That fixes it, guys. We did it. The character is A tier now.
The character's a heal bot. Congratulations, boys. We've done it.
Congratulations. You made Mercy, but without damage boost.
It's just, I don't understand. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I appreciate the spirit of the character, you know, like a new kind of like low aim, sort of like more game sense based character. I appreciate that. I very much appreciate that because as someone who has a lot of trouble with aiming, I always appreciate that sort of thing where it's like, oh look, a new character that I will just like naturally be able to play. But yeah, the way they've done it with Lifeweaver is that they've just created like one of the most awkward kits I think they've ever released.
Because it is uniquely the only character in the game with 0 offensive potential.
Essentially, yeah.
No, like literally only. Think of one other character with less offensive potential than this one.
I mean,
none of his abilities force you forward. They all force you backwards. They give you high ground, but only if you're in safety.
Right.
He heals, and if he's not healing, he's doing damage, at which point your team dies because the damage is 0.
Right. And not even his ultimate is offensive, yeah.
Yeah, everything about him is defensive, which, I mean, why?
I mean...
It's not like he has no reason to have offensive power, because the defensive power he offers is already lackluster.
Right. I don't know, like, what do you think they could add to him? Oh my god, Matsu,
damage?
shut up.
I honestly think quadrupling his damage output might actually do anything.
What is his damage currently?
I think it's 10 per shot.
Oh.
At like a miserably low fire rate.
Okay.
But it's also, it has spread, it travels really slowly, and it has damage fall off.
It has damage fall off? What?
I think it does. If it doesn't, then I literally haven't noticed.
Okay, so
that it doesn't have.
I don't think it has damage fall off.
No, it has no damage fall off. I just tested it.
I hate damage fall off on projectiles. I hate it. I
I understand it.
But it's I don't know.
He doesn't have damage fall off, but like Blizzard, why does this character do less damage than Mercy's pistol?
Yeah, I feel like I do like the fire rate on him, right? Purely because it just reminds me of the Needler, because
the Needler has a slightly higher fire rate than this.
It's a slightly higher fire rate, but it reminds me of it. So I don't know. I wouldn't want it to be like a super high fire rate.
They could make it home in. I don't think it would have anything. That wouldn't change anything.
That would actually be a really good solution.
What? Make it the Needler from Halo?
Just like literally make it the Needler from Halo. That's it. That's literally. They just have it like they have it.
We did it, guys. We fixed Lifeweaver. Give him the Needler from Halo.
They have it track a bit. They have the needles themselves do almost no damage, but when you get stuck with enough needles, you just fucking explode. There you go.
That would actually be more interesting, and would kind of fix his 0 damage potential.
Yeah. There you go. There's your answer.
But I don't think Genji mains won't maul over another homing projectile.
It doesn't have to home that strong. I don't think... Have you ever seen how strong
they complain about Moira, a beam weapon!
Have you seen how strong the homing is on the Needler in Halo? It's like...
Well, I know the one from Halo Reach, which is relatively high.
The one from Halo Reach does have kind of crazy tracking, you're right. But for most of the Halo games, the tracking is kind of iffy. It exists, but it's not crazy. So I feel like that could work.
It might.
Granted, I've always wanted a character that basically just has the Needler in Overwatch. So, because I feel like it's a weapon archetype that is just so underutilized.
It's quite interesting because they shoot crystals.
Yeah, they do. It's called Blamite.
You would know that.
I would know that. It's mined exclusively on the Sangheliosian moon of Suban.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Halo lore guy.
Somebody knows it.
There's always one guy, at least one guy.
It's I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It's just when I saw that he shot like thorns, I was like, this should just be the Needler, but it's not. So you know what? That sucks. But yeah, I don't know. They did something with the tree too, right? Like, what's up with the tree?
It's an alright ultimate.
Isn't it basically just Blizzard, but it heals?
It's
And it can
it's
die.
like Blizzard, one ice wall cone and it heals. Yeah.
That's actually kind of wild. Who thought of that?
I mean, they didn't. They thought of the visuals first, and then they were like, "Fuck, we have to put this in the game."
I've been getting into Critical Role lately, and like the line that Lifeweaver says, "Life protects life," reminds me of this very stupid line from Critical Role where one of the guys just says, "Life needs things to live."
Needs life to live.
No, life needs things to live.
Ah.
That's what it reminds me of.
I'll be honest, when it comes to Lifeweaver, I actually quite like his tree.
Really?
Yeah, it's like I like building like sort of abilities.
Yeah.
And that feels like a solid, just like a thing you build as an ability.
No, yeah, I like
It
buildables.
seems a lot more useful than like his platform, which nobody knows how to use.
I think it'd be interesting if the tree was more solid than it
Yeah,
is
I
right
wish you
now.
could stand
Like it would
on
get. Yeah, if you could stand on it, like it would become a high ground. That'd be so much more interesting.
That would be really cool.
Like when I learned,
Like I
you
don't think
couldn't-
it would cause many problems either.
Yeah, like when I learned you couldn't stand on it, I was like, "What's the point?"
It's a May wall, but only one pillar because, or else
that
it'd
you
be
can't
too broken.
stand on. Like,
It's so sad you can't stand on it. I thought they were gonna make it like twice as tall as it was, and then put like little flower swings on it, but they didn't do that either.
that'd be funny.
Because that would make sense if you look at his visual design, right?
Right.
And basically, that would give other pedal platforms that last for the whole ultimate, which would make it very cool and epic. But they didn't do that. They made him shoot piss and create a tree that you can't stand on.
Shoot, piss, and create trees. Man.
Man,
Ultimate hero.
the real one. Better than Moira. Moira only shoots piss, but doesn't create trees.
Just inferior.
She does create balls though. So.
She does.
That's true, but like, Lifeweaver also he creates little flower balls.
This is true.
His ball frequency is higher than Moira's. Checkmate.
Yeah, can't contest you on that one.
And the ability icon for the life grip is also a ball, so checkmate again.
Yeah, I mean, he puts a ball around you when he life grips you.
Yeah,
So.
he does encase you in one of his glowing testicles.
Speaking of which, I hate
Dear
this
God.
fucking ability for multiple fundamental reasons. Life grip.
Okay.
Why did they decide the two support characters in Overwatch 2 needed an immortality mechanic?
I mean, I don't think it's an immortality mechanic. It's just a Zarya bubble with a pull.
No, it's an unbreakable Zarya bubble.
Well, sure,
You
but it's
can't
still
take
it's still
damage while life grip.
It's still a Zarya bubble with a pull. It's not like making the character themselves immortal. It's just putting a barrier around them.
No, it is.
With Sombra
You're
EMPs,
immortal.
does it break
While
it?
life gripped, you are immortal.
If Sombra EMPs, does it break it?
No,
That's weird.
you are immortal in life grip. You are only affected by debuffs applied to you, but you don't take damage. And yeah, you don't take damage.
So, I mean, you can die if you're on fire.
If you are set on fire before life grip is activated, then
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
while life gripped, you cannot be set on fire.
I understand that. Yeah.
But at the same
that's like-
time, Life Grip is so like janky of an ability and is such a long cooldown that like, how often do you actually see a Lifeweaver strategically use it to save someone from dying? That
That's
feels
actually the
incredibly
only use.
rare.
It's
Like,
like the
I-
only use.
Yeah, but like I never see anybody do that. And when it does happen,
Oh.
it's by accident.
That's true, usually. But I'm just, why couldn't it just give them a 400 health shield, right? Like, theoretically breakable, but very unlikely.
True, yeah. I get the sense that, like, the bubble makes sense, though, right? Like, it would be kind of weird if it was just, like, literally just, like, force choking someone over to you. That'd be kind of strange, but...
I mean, it does do that.
I know, but at least there's, like, a visual bubble. It's kind of just... I don't know. I don't know. It makes more sense in my mind, but I have a weird mind.
It makes... I just don't think it should make you literally immortal while being pulled.
I mean, how is
Because,
this... How
I mean,
is...
Suzu is already problematic enough.
True, but, like, how is he
Now,
doing it
he can
at high
get
levels?
Suzu'd, pulled, and then Suzu'd again.
This is true, but, like, how does he do at high levels? Is he, like...
Well, he doesn't do anything at high level because he's bad.
He is bad. All right, that's what I
But
was
when he has
asking.
been played, his only use is making people immortal during life grip. His
Got
one
it.
cooldown that does anything, and the platform, I guess.
So
the
it's
platform's
that.
cool.
It's that sort of thing. All right, that makes sense.
So it's a worse
like,
version of Suzu with a longer cooldown.
It's Suzu, but it's interesting because what they usually do is he's played in either a comp that's like aggro poke, where one guy can aggro, like super ultra feed into the backline, and then Lifeweaver pulls them back.
Right. I mean,
Like, for instance, in a Winston interaction, the Winston would jump in, place bubble, jump in further, and then Lifeweaver would pull him back, instead of Winston having to use his cooldown to get back.
I mean, the when I first saw the ability, the first thing that came to my mind was like a JQ using Rampage to like go through the entire enemy team, but then she ends up on the opposite side of the enemy team. So like you use Life Grip to pull her back.
Yeah, that's the thing I imagined as well in his first like iteration. I was like, oh, you can finally make Rampage not insta-kill yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
Usually.
not a suicide.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm gonna Rampage, cool, and then you just pull her back. Yeah, that's like a cool interaction. That's the only thing he does.
Yeah.
That and heal, but like that's not enough.
I've seen some, like, if I still played Doomfist, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would find Lifeweaver fucking infuriating. Right? Like, imagine.
But as a Doom player, it would be like a necessary infuriation because he works really well with Doom.
It would help, especially like Doomfist, not whatever abomination we have now. Like it would help. It would certainly help if getting pulled back. It would be like a better Zarya bubble. But the scenario I'm thinking of is like when I would do a crazy rollout. I can imagine my Lifeweaver being like, "What the fuck is he doing? Get back here!" And I'm like, "No, I'm doing my fucking rollout. Leave me the fuck alone."
Again, like I said, this character has the highest accidental trolling potential out of any character.
I mean, I've also seen some pretty crazy shit, like Rhines doing the shatters from the top ropes, and then Lifeweaver pulling them back, and then they just shatter on top of the Lifeweaver.
They actually made a change specifically for that interaction.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Rhine is now ungrippable during the activation of Earth Shatter.
That's funny. That's actually really funny. It's
when people have to be given immunities to teammates, there's something wrong, right?
how does yeah, that's true. How does it work with the bomb? With like Diva Bomb, is it just like, do you pull the exploding mech, or do you?
The bomb itself doesn't become grippable, I think.
Okay, that's good.
I think there might still be a potential buggy interaction at the start of the ability being activated, but
Right.
I'm not sure. I'd have to test it.
To be fair, that's a really good interaction with Diva, because sometimes what happens is that Diva will end up, in the middle of the enemy team when they bomb. So that's a good interaction. Just pull her right back to you.
I mean,
Yeah, or just saving
she
her
can
in
now
general.
feed ult and then get pulled back.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
Feed ult, get pulled back, remech, and then go in again.
Lifeweaver is the anti-chef. Prevents feeding.
No, incentivizes feeding.
Okay, that's true. Incentive
Allows for feeding to happen.
That's true.
Lifeweaver's a feeder.
Oh, no,
Enables
Lifeweaver loves to see a girl boss feeding.
It's just more feeding. Lovely.
Yeah, but he can't do any of said feeding himself.
Right. Yeah, he's pretty squishy, isn't he? Because his hitbox is huge.
His hitbox is bigger than Junker Queen's.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How does... So he just
He's-
explodes.
He's the same length. He's the same length or slightly shorter, and he's wider than Junker Queen.
How tall is he?
Like almost 2 meters, I think.
So he's like Moira height.
Yeah, he's like Moira JQ height.
JQ's taller than Moira, but yeah.
Yeah, but like he's either slightly taller or the same height as Moira in game,
That's actually kind of nuts.
and he's wider than Junker Queen.
That's not hard, but yeah. Okay, that's kind of strange. So he explodes. I haven't really played him, so... But
Yeah, so it's like- Basically, if you see a tracer, it's try not to get one clipped challenge.
Right.
It's impossible. You thought missing Zen was hard? Try missing Lifeweaver.
Man, now I wish Hog was still in the game. That would have been funny.
You can still pull him. What are you gonna do? Dash out?
That's true. The dash is so fucking weird.
It's so worthless.
They were like, yeah, 25 health. That's worth it.
25 health and like a 6-meter fart.
It's just,
They were like, you know what? Let's power creep Hanzo leap. Let's make it heal him.
I don't. I mean, is it at least on a longer cooldown than Hanzo lunge?
It's 5 seconds.
So it's on a
Longer.
It's longer cooldown. Yeah. But that's still so strange. Like, why did they think he needed this? Like, couldn't he have?
Don't know.
Like,
because he has no other form of self-defense.
I actually have a crackpot theory about this character.
Okay.
And that is like that he's a failed either a rework or reimagining of another hero.
Really?
I think this is a reimagining of what failed rework for Sim was made.
That's interesting. No,
Like-
that's genuinely interesting.
This character really reminds me of Sim in a lot of its gameplay, and I think
And story.
and story. Oh, they can't have done that for that reason, please. But yeah, if they were going to rework Sim, I think it would be very close to how Lifeweaver is, because his abilities function in a team quite similarly as current Sim does as well. Like the teleporter works as the pedal platform and the life grip. They just
Right.
split it up.
That's interesting, actually. You're right. That's fucking fascinating.
It's also infinitely funny to me that a damage character has the same but like slightly better utility than a support character that tries to do the same thing.
That's really interesting.
I mean, I've been thinking that a lot of the characters for Overwatch 2 have been like reworks or reimagining of existing characters. Like, look at Junker Queen. How could you not look at this as like a redesign of Roadhog?
I mean, to be fair,
The knife is just reworked hook.
to be fair, I
The
think
shout is reworked like
vape.
vape.
I mean,
the axe is like, okay, well, what do we do with this hook? We make it hit people.
if you ask me, I feel like that's unlikely because Junker Queen has been in development so long that it's...
Well, but who says that this is what they were initially going for, right?
That's true.
Like, they could have just been reworking Hog, and then we're like, well, this actually fits this new character better.
That's true, but I don't know. That just doesn't feel quite right because almost in a sense, I feel like it was inevitable that she was going to feel similar to Hog. So I don't know. Maybe that's true, but I would.
It's a real crackpot theory. It's a real conspiracy moment, but
Yeah.
I'd say, if anything, it's with Junker Queen. They were like, all right, we really want to make Junker Queen a hero. They couldn't figure out what to do with her to actually make her a hero. So they just copied Roadhog and then just, like, tweaked it until it was a distinct hero and gave that kit to Junker Queen.
I could see
I
that.
think that's more of what it is.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, the same thing could have happened if they were working on a Roadhog rework, and they were like, fuck, we can't figure this Junker Queen hero out. And then they were like, wait a minute. This rework kind of fits this new hero we're designing.
Right.
You know, it's equally likely that could have happened, but
Yeah.
they could have also worked backwards from, like, okay, what if Roadhog but Junker Queen?
I don't know. I find it so fascinating, like, the stories behind a lot of the development of these characters that we never learn. Because, like,
I'd love to learn that,
you
but
can piece together some weird stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Genji and Hanzo, we know how those came to be.
That's true.
They were like, wow, let's make this cool ninja hero. And then, oops, there's 2 of them now.
Yeah, I mean, I would also be really curious to see, like, how they ended up with the, like, kit that... Actually, I think we know some about this. Like, how they ended up with the kit that Ramatra got, because that's a weird kit.
But it makes some kind of sense.
It makes some sense, but it's a bizarro kit.
It has a concept, right? Transformation.
It does, but then, like, I think we all know very well that everyone now looks at Ramatra and they're like, what does he do? What's the point? What does this man do?
No, actually, people have, like, he has a solidified place in the meta now.
What does he do?
So good.
He just, like...
He's a brawl alternative for other characters.
Why would you need a brawl alternative? Just play
Because he's the
Rhyne.
only brawl character with range.
Yeah, he can brawl and poke.
He can brawl and poke.
I
Yeah, he's a
suppose-
good brawl character into poke.
I suppose that's true.
Like,
But
if you are playing brawl against poke, this is the best way to do it.
But I suppose it also means that, like, he still has the fucking cosmetic ability of Vortex.
No, like, Vortex, people have figured out how to use it. It does not stop aerials, but it sure does inconvenience people when they get close to you. A lot. It's
Yeah.
to prevent escapes from happening.
It's to sort of just slow down people so he can outpace them and just keep punching.
Yeah. And also, nailing people to the ground makes them really easy to headshot.
That is true. That is
And
true.
punch.
And punch.
Yes.
I still think it's stupid. It doesn't do what it was advertised to do, but sure. It's
Yeah.
it
But I think they probably shouldn't have advertised what it did anyways, because that actively hurt how people play him.
that's also true. Yeah, I don't know. I was playing him the other day and I still don't really like the way he feels now, but I mean, if he has a place, I guess.
I think he's in a really good spot. I really like how he plays. I play him quite a bit.
Do we have anything else before we move on to the next topic?
Not really?
Well, I guess maybe we kind of move past this at this point, but like, what do you guys think about Junker Queen in this latest patch? I don't think we really
Oh,
touched on that.
I think
Everyone seems to be getting up in arms about her.
yeah, I think they're fine.
I think people are blowing this out of the water
I
way
see.
too much.
Agree.
I still don't think this fixes the fundamental issue with her, which is something that
What is the fundamental
Blizzard
issue?
has a problem with, where they're just like they just try and dance around the actual issue, which is that she just doesn't burst people well enough. She just sort of,
But they don't want her to burst.
but that's the problem, right? It's like you have this character that does what Junker Queen does, and she can't burst, which is a problem when you just sort of, double the bleed healing or not, and being as large as she is, she just explodes. So if she can't, because she's very much the sort of tank where it's like you just need to kill them faster than they can kill you, and you're just survivable enough to be able to feasibly do that. But the problem is that, especially with the larger hitbox, it's still really hard to pull that off. So, like, literally,
I think they're going the right direction, though. I think what they're trying to do right now is make it, like, have slightly higher burst damage than Ryan. They've given her a C ability that's, like, quite unique. And they're giving her a lot of sustain in a prolonged team fight, unlike any other Brawl character, which gives her an identity, right?
No, that does give her an identity. It's just I feel like without the more significant burst damage, she just sort of, I almost feel like she runs into somewhat of the same issue that Reinhardt does, where she can sometimes just end up sort of existing, and that's about it.
But she has the knife.
That's what I mean by sort
she's
of.
not supposed to be good on range, but she can at least hit people.
That's what I mean. She's sort of like Reinhardt. She's better than Reinhardt in that sense. It's I don't know. I feel like at least
almost like she's a Brawl character, which are all fundamentally alternatives to Reinhardt.
right. If you ask me, I feel like what they should do is I feel like they should just lower the fire rate on it, because on the gun, but just like maybe increase the damage by like 10, and maybe increase
insta kill people.
No, she wouldn't insta kill people if you increase it by 10.
No, right now she does, like, when I shoot with it, it consistently does over 100 damage per shot.
It would do, right now it does 80, so yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I guess most people don't hit that headshots that consistently, so I don't know.
I know, but it's already dangerously close to insta-killing people, right?
I mean,
if they hit all the pellets at a relatively close range.
I suppose, but if you lowered the fire rate, I think that'd be less of an issue, right?
Maybe. I mean, they lowered Reaper's damage so he can't insta-kill anymore, because they realized that was a problem. So I can understand
I don't think that's a problem. Reaper is meant to do that. If Reaper gets up in your face, you die.
No, as in, that's specifically a problem in Overwatch 2. They tested this in the alpha and beta, and he tore people's asses apart. And then he got nerfed, and he still was the best character in that meta back then.
I mean, what is he? What is he now? Because it's like
He's good still.
Because like if you can't get up in people's face and one tap them, that's kind of weird. How does
But he can two tap them, and he has the survivability to do so. Like Reaper's still good, right?
Not that I know of, but
I think he's like way better than people give him credit for.
Really?
Currently.
Okay.
Yeah, in my experience, like Reaper can wreck, and I never see people really talk about it. So,
well, Reaper can still tear ass, and yeah, he's quite good. He's relatively survivable. The self heal really matters in 5v5.
That is true. In 5v5, the self heal matters a lot more. That is true.
Like, yeah, people are undervaluing Reaper, but they weren't at the start of Overwatch 2. People were quite high on Reaper. They were like, this guy's fucking nuts. And then they nerfed him slightly, and he was like less nuts, but still good, but people weren't playing him as much.
Going back to JQ, though, I think it's like, I feel like the issue with JQ, because obviously you don't want to just like one-shot people if just with the gun, right? That makes no sense.
Right. It's a shotgun tank.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
you don't want her to be Roadhog, but better, right?
Yeah, no.
Even at that like miserable close range that Roadhog already doesn't want to be in.
Right. So I feel like the biggest issue for JQ is just that she doesn't do enough in the short term, but maybe that's just me.
I think that's just you.
Because as far as I can tell, and I've put probably around 50 hours into her at this point, I've noticed that the problem that I continuously run into is that she's too reliant on landing a bunch of shots over time, by which point you're usually already dead. The only way that she really works consistently, right, is if you land the knife, which granted they increased the hitbox on, so I think this will be a lot easier now. You hit the knife, you pull them back, you shoot them, and you melee them, and then they die, I think, like 0.3 seconds later, which I think is fair, but it's, I still think that's not consistent enough to justify, But
a brawl character shouldn't just have, like, slightly shorter range Roadhog hook, like old Roadhog hook, like lethality, right?
No, but it's not. It's way less consistent
but
as
it's
well.
Close. It's currently about as lethal as current Roadhog hook.
Yeah, well, current Roadhog.
Current Roadhog. What do you mean Roadhog? Never heard of him.
Yeah, what current Roadhog?
What current Roadhog?
You mean that character from Overwatch 1?
The Tickle Man. It's yeah. God, I played Roadhog a few times the other day, and like it's just
why would you do that?
It just was a spiritually painful experience because I sat there and I remembered all the times that I would do the funny hooks. I'm like, the world is just a sadder place now.
Yeah, he just like doesn't exist. Like I just never see him, and I might every now and again attempt to play him, and it's like I'm just not contributing anything, so I have to swap.
Actually, I have a way where we can fix Roadhog, okay?
Revert the hook? Because I revert the hook.
Okay, no. It's better than that, okay? We make Roadhog 1.0.
No, that's based.
We give him a longer hook cooldown. Like, quite longer.
Yep.
We buff the gun damage.
Yep.
And we lower the ammo by 1 or 2.
That I agree with. That's a perfect solution, actually.
Like, make it, if necessary, a 10-second cooldown, because that's the only thing keeping him viable, right? And if it's too unfun, you just increase the cooldown. Lower the frequency of the bullshit happening. But the bullshit still exists.
But the bullshit is what makes Overwatch, right? Like, you can't
I know,
the
but
bullshit.
You can lower the frequency of the bullshit, but stop the bullshit in the game.
I guess that's true, but like, yeah, no, I agree with that.
If you want the bullshit in the game, have it come up less frequently.
I agree with that. 100%. But
which is the exact way they should nerf Widow 2.
I would keep in mind that the thing with 1.0 hog damage is that I think it was 450
You don't have to literally make Hog 1.0,
And
but you know what I mean. Go in
one-shot
Hog
JQ.
1.0's direction.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like 300 would be fair. Like, no, actually, that's what he does already.
300?
He actually already does 300 maximum. So I don't know if you made him like 320. I feel like that's reasonable.
I think the one shot could be being consistent, could be fine if the cooldown was longer, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before. I feel like one-shots are just a necessary part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, but they should be infrequent.
Yeah, you could have them be infrequent, but it's... I mean, you'd have to give Hog something else.
As an infrequent one-shot, there's be more reason to give him other things in his kit to do,
no, that's
right?
True. That's true. I was actually thinking about this recently with what they're going to do with the rework, and I was just thinking to myself, like, what could they possibly do that would, like, not make him busted utility-wise to make up for the fact that he just, like, barely exists?
Yeah, I think actually returning the one shot might be fine for Roadhog, right? As long as they increase the hook cooldown, because every 6 seconds is very obnoxious.
Oh yeah, no, I honestly thought that 8 seconds was perfect because 8 seconds was like around the amount of time that a shield would need to just come back enough to like be able to deal with him, or it kind of matched up with a lot of movement abilities that would make it so that they couldn't get hooked as much. That was sort of the way I looked at it. So personally, I think 8 seconds is the ideal number for hook.
Yeah, but this is Overwatch 2, right? So that might be different.
Yeah, but things move more now. There's less CC.
Yeah, but when things die now, you instantly win.
Sometimes.
Like, the fight continues, but you know which side has won the fight.
Not necessarily. I see plenty of fights get flipped.
Astro, the team fight win statistics have shown that in Overwatch 1, it was a 70% favor to the side that got the first pick. Overwatch 2 has shifted that to an 85%.
Maybe in GM, but that's GM.
No, in like general play.
Really? I have not experienced that, but alright, I believe you. That's what the stats say.
Might not be the stats for general play, but
it's
I know that's at least the stats they've released.
Yeah. I mean,
some of them.
I could even see like the 8 seconds, but what they currently have, right, where it's like the cooldown doesn't start until the hook comes back. Like I could see that. That's reasonable. Anyways, next topic. Starwatch.
You weren't a fan of it, Astro.
No, I am. Let me clarify something. In a classic Overwatch move, right? The aesthetic is great. The story is good. The character designs are great. I appreciate the characterization through the voice lines. I think it's a really interesting setting. Basically, I think everything except the gameplay is really great, and that's just Overwatch.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
That sums up your feelings. You just twisted it a lot more positively in your video.
Yeah. God, the gameplay is so janky in that mode.
That mode is so ass.
The truth
that
comes
mode
out.
Is just actual dookie, man.
It's dookie dog shit. It's just like painful.
It has interesting things. The turrets are like whatever, but the grav canisters, they're cool.
Oh, the grav canisters are really
cool. They implemented them in like one of the worst ways I've ever seen map utility be implemented. Like every single choke point has a grav canister. Good luck.
Yeah, that's on purpose.
Yeah, but I hate that.
Chaotic elements.
Ian, how is every team fight starts with you getting grabbed a funny thing?
Because then you just grab the enemy back.
No, but they don't. It's Horizon. They're not supposed to get close to grav canisters. Good spots to stand on defense aren't close to grav canisters.
Defensive high ground positions on the second and fourth point.
Yeah, but they moved the points around, so...
Yeah, that aspect is janky as hell.
Like, why did they need randomness? I don't need randomness in my fucking 2CP lobby.
Yeah, if you're playing Watchers and you get to the fourth point, and the fourth point is just the main point in, like, the garage hangar, you might as well just give up.
Yeah, no, it's over.
Whereas if it's in the side room, you're pretty much guaranteed to win.
No,
You reach
actually,
the
the
fourth
side room
point,
is
and then it's a
surprisingly
coin
easy to
flip.
hold. I found.
Hold as the Empire?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean,
okay, all you have to do is keep the 2 turrets alive, you win.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
but all you do is just poke the turrets until they die.
No, but
90% of support players don't even realize they can heal the turrets, and like 80% of players don't even realize there is a capture point in that backside room, and thus they
even
won't
when it's
defend
on
it
the
if you
map,
just
by the
go
way,
in
they
there.
will continue capturing the middle points, even when it's not there.
We had that
Yeah.
happen multiple times, Ness and I. We'd be standing on the middle of the point like, why isn't anything happening? Why aren't we capturing
it's
the point?
so poorly communicated. First and foremost, there's no indication that there are like variants of map points. That's
Right.
something you just have to figure out for yourself. And then even after you are aware of that, the actual visual indicator for it is so minuscule that I miss it half the time. And I'll go to a point and be like, is there a little highlight thing around that? No, I guess not. All right, I'll go to the other one.
Second and third point, like, schmicks me up multiple times
Oh, yeah.
because I'm like, it's not clear whether or not it's on the high ground or the low ground sometimes. Then I'll be going up the high ground of like what used to be first point, and I'm like, all right, let's dive the low ground, and then it's on the high ground. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
We just dove the low ground, and now we lose, and we have to crawl back to our other position. Which
Oh yeah,
the res mechanic just makes it more frustrating.
It's just-
When I
Yeah,
die, I
that's-
at least want to actually stay dead, you know?
Instead of waiting 10 seconds for the chance to be brought back.
Yeah, even though you got team wiped.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still have to crawl. You get no breaks.
Yeah, the crawl of shame. It's insufferable.
Yeah.
It's like getting down and trying to get back to your teammates, and then they go down too, and you just have to sit there together on the ground for 5 seconds until
There's
one of
one
you can start
negative
responding.
upside to this, and that is that you can now more effectively taunt in front of someone's corpse.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a negative upside. I don't think that's a negative upside.
I think that's a negative upside.
just
You
an
know,
upside.
Taunting people is really funny. No, but being like dead and staying like crawling is annoying. You get no break.
No, that's true. But I mean, I'll take any chance to like BM people.
I guess.
Like, I've said this, right? People are always like, "Oh, Overwatch, the balance is so important." Like, the balance is important, but like, I don't give a shit if as long as I'm playing the game and I'm having a good laugh, you know, I've won. That's all I need.
I think the devs are focusing too much on keeping the win rates exact. I don't think the win rates matter that much.
In the end, all I care about is that I can have a good time. You know, I've always said, I can lose a game, but if I was laughing the whole time, I didn't lose.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're making it increasingly hard to do that.
Just all the goofy shit goes away. Why am I playing a game if it's not fun? It's like you know what it's like? It's actually it's like what people complained about with the D&D 4th edition. Remember this? I was reading about this where the biggest complaint people had with D&D 4th edition is that it was too balanced and it removed a lot of the flavor in favor of just more balance.
Right. I mean, in 5e, the balance is kind of up to the DM and the players.
Right.
They can be like, all right, you can be as busted as you want. Just keep it civil between people.
Right. But in Overwatch,
Right.
we don't get that choice. So it's like,
No, but Overwatch isn't D&D.
that's what I'm saying. Overwatch, we don't get the choice because the devs dictate it. So it's like, if like they want to just make the game less fun, they just do it, and God knows they do it.
I mean, from a dev perspective, they have no reason to make it less fun unless they're focusing on keeping the wrong thing balanced, right?
Isn't that what they usually do?
Yeah, they're focusing on keeping the funny win rate statistic 50-50, which notoriously is bad. Because that's what kept Sim and Torb from being playable in Overwatch 1.
Right.
And then they were like, alright, this clearly doesn't work for those two characters, and now they're flourishing, they're enjoyed by the people that play them, and no one else plays them despite their 70 win rate.
Yeah, that's fine. And I mean, I will always say, like, you don't want heroes to be too niche, right? But as long as people, they're good enough that they can be played often enough that people are able to enjoy them, you've won. That's it. That's all you need to do.
Just make every character Sim and Torb in terms of balance idea, right?
Oh, yeah.
They are fun, they are strong, but like, for the people that play them.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. You don't need... Because people always, people have always been trying to tell Blizzard this, like, no one wants to play every character. No one.
No.
So...
Very few people want to switch.
Yeah.
And when they're forced to switch, they mauled.
I mean, like, I don't know about you, Ian, but, like, for me at least, when I go into a game, by the time I'm already in the loading screen, I've already decided what character I want to play this game.
For me, it depends on the map and whether it's attack defense. That usually is the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's regardless. I just go into the game, I'm like, this is a Sigma game. It could be it could be fucking, like, who knows? It could be Dorado, and I'm like, this is a Sigma game. Or I could go into King's Row, and I'm like, this is a ball game. Like,
for me, it actually depends on a lot of things. I usually pick a character that at least halfway synergizes with my team or the map.
That's what I do as well. I don't. If I
wait for my team to select heroes, and then I'm like, we have a Mercy. I should probably not play Lucio.
If I see like my team going a comp that like I'll just be a detriment if I play a certain character, I won't do it. But like, if nothing is like stopping me, like team wise, I'll just do what I want. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling Sigma right now. I'm usually feeling Sigma. I'm just, not right now because, what the fuck were they on? What the fuck are they currently on?
They're on the stun cope.
What the
They're
fuck
doing
will they
it again.
What will they likely continue to be on for the next year? But what the fuck? But it's just sort of like, yeah, I don't know.
Once again, they try to make the character like have a higher win rate without thinking about the consequences of making the win rate higher.
They were literally just like, what's better? What's more healthy for the game than an inconsistent like kill combo that requires like...
And a cool, like, weird, inconsistent kill combo.
Just a longer stun every time they get hit with the rock. That's better, guys, right? That's more healthy for the game.
That'll be fun for tank players with a hitbox that's just unmissable.
That's more fun, guys. That's better for the game. One shot's bad. One shot's always bad.
Surely tank players won't care about getting stunned for 1.1 seconds every 8 seconds.
It's fucking infuriating. It's just, I've talked about this, but like, this crusade against one shots is going to just... It's not going to end well.
This is like... People were like, yeah, the SIG one shot, no one cares.
No
and then they still changed it.
No one cared.
And they haven't addressed the ones people had a problem with.
Yeah, no. It just... Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Starwatch.
Starwatch. It exists.
Like, to call it mid would be a compliment. It's not even mid.
I like the AI Doomfist. The AI Doomfist makes me laugh.
The AI Doomfist...
He's pretty goofy, yeah.
He's so bad.
He's so dog.
I mean, it doesn't help that his power block doesn't work on top of everything.
Because of the patch, yeah.
That actually makes a huge difference.
It's so good.
To be fair, he doesn't even know how to use it. Half the time,
but like he could, like even theoretically,
he turns away from the enemy, and they shoot him in the back and kill him.
I know, but like in the world where like, even though he uses it randomly, opponents could theoretically shoot into it, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Stupidly, and even for that, he's punished because it doesn't charge his punch.
It's just
because it's bugged.
It's so good. Just melting this guy is just the funniest shit on earth. It's just, oh god, and it's made even worse by the fact that it's like on the team with the like obvious disadvantage, which I think is why they gave the AI. But like,
I mean, they had to give him a fifth player, but they were like, well, we can't just have 5 players, so they gave them the AI Doomfist.
A character that's really hard to AI, yeah. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Granted, he's much easier to AI than he used to be, because he's just Monkey Jump 2.0.
Monkey.
They simplified the character to, like, brain dead levels, but, yeah, it's,
So, when they were making Starwatch, do you think they first came up with a bunch of cool skin ideas and
Yes.
were like, oh, we can have the Watchers and the Empire, and they found characters that fit them, and then they're like, oh, we can make a game mode where we pit them against each other, and they're like, all right, this is cool. And then, like, how far through that process do you think they realized that one team had Wrecking Ball, Winston, and Doomfist, and the other team had Sigma, Bastion, and Mercy, and they realized that was a problem?
You know,
I
might
think
not
they
realize.
didn't realize
They-
that.
they don't
and that's how we
realize.
got here.
they lacked the critical information the whole way through.
Because it's just like, this is not a fair matchup. Which, not ironically, I guess, funnily enough, fits the idea of Rebels versus Empire,
Yeah,
but
no.
it doesn't make for a satisfying gameplay
It does.
experience.
No. I think it's actually. I don't think they should have gone the PvP route. I think
I
this
agree.
should have been a PvE game mode
I agree with that.
for the most
Yeah,
part.
I think it would have worked better that way.
Like the PvP aspect of it is probably the thing that holds it back the most.
I just absolutely
Which
love.
would it be? Would you be the Watchers fighting PvE Empire, or the other way around?
I think you could do
I
either.
think,
I think you could do
yeah.
either.
That would be really interesting.
yeah.
That would have been so cool if they'd done that.
If
Yeah.
only they had thought of that.
Maybe they did. And
Maybe they did.
couldn't do it because small indie company.
Small indie company. Yeah, it's
They made the dev part of the company a small indie company, and everything else is just bloated fucking billionaire scam.
essentially. Welcome to the gaming industry.
It sucks. Please fix it.
But I remember Ness and I were playing, and it was we were the what's the I don't even
The rebels.
the rebels. I don't even know what they're called.
The Watchers.
I wasn't listening.
We were the guys on the Star Wars.
I was
that is
playing
good.
Torbjorn. That's all I know. But I just remember we were playing, and I was like, what? How did it get past the idea phase to like have Bastion against Monkey, and Ness was just like, how did it get past the idea phase to do this in general? It's
Because
just
they needed something to fill in for archives.
I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
I don't get how
Archives
we
is
aren't-
fun as fuck. Everyone loves archives.
Like literally,
Year
all you
after
have to
year.
do to keep the Overwatch community happy is re-release Archive every single event.
Year after year, Archives gets played to hell and back, and they were just like, "No, we're not doing it this year."
Now, the event that everyone likes,
It's literally the most
universally,
beloved
no.
event.
Most beloved event? Cringe. We're not getting a player base
Yeah.
that's stable. Fuck that. That would take more server space.
Like, I would have loved to play, what's it?
They didn't even have to release new shit. I would have played
No.
the old events to get the achievements.
I would have what's the one that you play, Reaper?
Retribution.
Retribution. Like, I would have loved to play Retribution as JQ. Like, that would have been hilarious.
Oh, like the all heroes mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, I unironically would have enjoyed playing Lifeweaver on that mode just to troll, honestly.
Yeah, no, really. I just don't.
I would definitely be the guy that just platforms the heavy assault unit up to give it high ground.
Yes. Exactly.
Dude, you could just play as part of the enemy team as Lifeweaver sometimes.
I don't understand it. I don't understand. Like, granted, I love the idea of Starwatch. Like, the idea of it is fantastic. The gameplay isn't. The idea of it is fantastic. But I don't see why they had to have this second thing. Like, everyone loves archives. What is the problem? I don't get it.
I know what the problem is.
What?
They couldn't come up with more skins.
I mean, honestly, they could have just released the skins they released and like, guys, look, it's a
It's a Starwatch thing.
It's a
Cool.
Starwatch theme. That's the theme of the season. By the way, here's the archives of game modes back. Like, they could have just
Yeah, they could have done that.
they could have
but
just
didn't.
done that. It was like,
Why didn't they?
I don't understand it.
I'm willing to
Maybe
bet there's a lot of like internal technical reasons that like the old AI just like wouldn't work for whatever reason.
I mean, we see some of the reasons in the current patch.
Yeah. If the current patch is anything to go by,
They have a
who
lot of
knows
technical
how-
reasons not to do certain things.
yeah, but
That's a
like
good point. Yeah.
who knows how horrific it would have been if they'd tried to bring in, just any of those sort of like PvE mechanics from archives, like the game might explode, who knows.
I mean, Junkenstein's worked quite well, and it seemed to work on the basis that it emulates Overwatch 1.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
It did, but it also felt like they like rebuilt all the enemies.
that's true. I mean,
Not for the original Junkenstein. For the new game mode, yes, but for the original Junkenstein,
They just ported it.
They,
That's
they
true. I
literally
guess that actually
just
worked out.
Junkenstein 1 is just Overwatch 1 emulated on Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
It's so janky.
I mean-
like, you have no idea.
I mean, you two know
Like,
very
the,
well.
the stats of the current game, but like scuffed.
Right.
Like passives aren't a thing in Junkenstein.
That's right.
I wonder what sort of like makeshift bizarro like coding they had to do to just port this like chunk of Overwatch 1 into Overwatch 2 like that.
Some of the other arcade game modes have the same jankiness where certain passives don't work. Like in Deathmatch, support, tank, and damage passives aren't a thing. So certain characters that were balanced with them in bind, like Lucio, just don't heal themselves anymore.
I and you two know this very well. I am the least technical, computer literate person you probably know that isn't over 40. So it's like, how difficult would it have been to just port the AI? Like, is that hard? Is it just like a bunch of code that you can just port? Is it more
It
complicated
depends on
than
how
that?
they've rebuilt the engine.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a pretty complex thing, and honestly, I'm not like sufficient to talk about it either. So I don't know
depends
nearly
on-
enough about that kind of thing.
It depends on enough factors that like there's an equally high chance that it would have immediately fucked up and they tried.
That's
but
possibly they tried.
it
Yeah.
could have worked.
I
think if it had worked, they would have shown us that it worked, right?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, could it have been possibly the thing where it was like they might have tried it, but it wasn't worth the effort, and so they just did Starwatch? Is that possible?
That I'd say that's very likely to have been what happened.
Yeah.
Or it just wasn't feasible to port it in a way that they thought would be good. So they're like, all right, we need to do something new. Starwatch.
Yeah.
There's another evil reason not to do it, and that's that they will try to make Overwatch 2's PvE release look larger than it is.
Right.
They'll be like, look guys, it's Overwatch 2 with the archives missions.
Oh God.
Yeah, the whole starve the audience strategy.
Oh,
Starve them,
God.
and give them a cracker, and they freak out thinking it's a feast.
Give them the thing they already had. Literally take away their clothing and then give them their clothing back and be like, look guys, it's a bonus.
It's like what the
They're so
Dutch-
nice.
It's like what the Dutch did with that piece of Germany during World War II.
Exactly. They were lobbying to get Germany, and then they were like, oh, fine, we'll take 10 kilometers, and then they sold it back.
So yeah,
It sucks.
that's I think that's somewhat likely that that's the reason. I just wish that they had ported it because Starwatch is it exists. It's a thing
It's
you can
not
play.
it. It's really
not it. The more I think about it, the more I realize man, the Sigma Mythic is really cool, but it's not what I wanted out of a Sigma Mythic.
Why isn't there one that just gives him a mask?
That's not what I mean. It's just do I like it? Is this a really good mythic for Sigma? Yeah. Is this really what I would have wanted out of a mythic for Sigma? No. Because they still have failed to give us an actual cosmic themed Sigma skin, and it really confuses
the epic
me.
skin he got last season.
Okay, that's true. But I mean I'm talking about a mythic level skin because I don't know, that just made so much more sense to me. I don't know why they just made him Overwatch Darth Vader.
I like it.
I'm.
He wanted to see Overwatch Nyalathotep, not Overwatch Darth Vader.
Yeah, that is what I wanted. I wanted Overwatch Nyalathotep. I didn't want Overwatch Darth Vader.
I'll pick Darth Vader.
I mean, granted, I do
What
like
a sentence.
it.
I'll pass on Nyalathotep. I'll take Darth Vader.
I like the skin. I think it's a really cool idea. It wouldn't have been my choice.
No, I think
just be glad he's gotten a mythic skin.
I know, right? We were talking about that before Overwatch 2 came out. We were like, there's no fucking way he's ever getting a mythic skin. To be fair, it seems like our theory that the mythic skins that we get are based on hero popularity seems to largely be not true.
Well, maybe they're kind of randomly picking for the theme.
It does seem to be whoever best fits the theme.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's a
first
positive.
And foremost. But I also wonder how much them choosing a given theme for a season has to do with like mythic skin ideas.
Yeah,
like for season 2 with the Greek mythology, how much of them going with Greek mythology was like, oh, we got this idea for a Junker Queen Zeus skin.
Okay, so I have a theory on that one as well. Look at all the Greek mythology themed skins, right?
Yeah.
All of them could have been mythic skins if they were given alts. They're all bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Zeus is like the big
Zeus
one,
makes sense because it's Zeus. But if you look at all of them, they could have just been mythic skins in their own way.
Yeah.
All they needed were alts, really. And they could have had alts easily. Like, they have very recolorable parts.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd play as a blue Hermes Lucio.
I didn't expect this, but I actually ended up really liking the Kiriko mythic skin. And that's saying something. I just complimented Kiriko. The space-time continuum is about to break. It's I actually like that skin a lot more than I thought I would. Granted, I don't know how much of that just has to do with the fact that every time I open the menu, I'd be like, yeah, this is a banger. But it's like, I actually kind of like it. Do I like it more than Zeus and Galactic Emperor? No. But I ended up liking it more than Cyber Ninja Genji, which I was not expecting.
The only mythic I've liked so far is Zeus. That's just because the other themes don't speak to me as much.
I mean, the only reason I like that's the Sigma one is my favorite is just because it's Sigma.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, all of the customization options are like, so.
On JQ as well, actually.
Oh, JQ had amazing customization options. The fucking blue lightning? Oh, that was sick as fuck.
Man, that's just a color change, though.
Oh, but it's the best kind of color change.
It's a really good color change, but like, there's not that much customization.
And honestly, the fact that I could turn the knife into a lightning bolt, just oof.
I mean, actually, same with mythics in general. They haven't had as much customization as I would have thought.
That's generally true, yeah. I would agree. What were you gonna say, Ian?
Yeah, just that I agree with Ness in terms of like I'm surprised you feel like Junker Queen is so much better customization than the Sigma skin.
I mean, I think the reason I don't like the Sigma skin is because like the customizations options for the Sigma skin is like, unlike the JQ one where every option spoke to me somewhat, there's like all the options for the Sigma skin, like there's one of them that speaks to me somewhat, like a little bit. I just don't like the others. So it's like unlike the Zeus skin, where it's like I loved the blue, I loved the yellow, and I loved the red. I look at the Sigma skin and I'm like, there is only one of these color palettes that I like. The other one looks like he's in a tundra, and the other one looks like he's in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm the complete opposite. Like, I feel like the Sigma skin is the first mythic skin where I genuinely like different like options of it. I don't just like settle on one and be like, all right, that's the one that I like best. Like, I think each of them have their own nice flair.
No, I
think the Sigma
because they're different enough.
The Sigma one has one problem, in my opinion, and that is that there isn't a single option where it obscures his face. Instead, he gets the one where it just exposes his bald-ass head and gives him a metal mohawk, which is ugly as fuck.
Yeah.
Please just replace it with a Darth Vader mask. It would have been so thematically correct, and they fucked it up.
Yeah.
Well, they could have given
the,
it a
the,
hood.
the military officer's cap is just like the best headwear.
Really? The one,
I think the crown and the cap are the only two good ones.
The crown is too like medieval.
It's too simple, but
yeah,
like
it's too
the
simple,
alternative
medieval.
the alternative is giving him an eye patch.
the crown is the only one I like. And it's just because I don't like the military Sigma look. It just doesn't vibe with me.
Oh, I think it fits him so well.
'Cause, like,
I would not have expected it, but it fits.
Because at least in my mind, the last thing that I think of when I think of Sigma is like military. I think of like, it's just not what the character is to me, I guess.
But if you wanted a military Sigma skin, this is probably very good.
Yeah, no, it is. I just like
Probably the best you'll ever get in that regard.
I just like the crown because it's like the closest that we got to like, some sort of like Eldritch King sort of look.
I think they could have done a bit more. I mean, the middle headwear, the one where he just gets an ugly metal mohawk and just things into his head.
He gets like the eyes. He gets the
And
glasses.
the Torb Overwatch 1 eye.
Yeah.
That's like a Adeptus Mechanicus look, if you're familiar with Warhammer, which is kind of
A little
cool,
bit,
but
yeah.
like also really ugly, and just like I don't really like it on him.
No, I think they could have instead just, hey, you could have given him a mask like in the Overwatch 1 skin, Talon for Sigma,
Yeah.
where that's the only skin where you don't see his face. Please give him more of those. I kind of like that.
You don't want to
I
see
like
Sigma's face.
skins that have the face obscured, because they're cool. You're like, oh, who is that?
Yeah, a more Darth Vader-y sort of helmet, I think, would have been a great option to have in there.
I just like the facial expressions that Sigma makes too much to ever cover it.
Yeah, but it's also cool because he seems more like an obscured weapon that way.
That's true. But that's when I play Sigma.
Which is why I like the Talon skin.
When I play Sigma though, I almost want to be like, no, don't be a weapon. Be your own man.
You would use the Dr. Kuiper skin. I'm the one that's using the Talon skin.
Oh yeah,
the Overwatch 1 epics.
I desperately want a skin for Sigma that's literally just his outfit from his origin trailer, just like the lab coat.
Fine, that would work. It wouldn't make his shoulders work though.
They could just add something. It's not. They wouldn't.
They could just give him shoulder pads. I mean, that's pretty much what they've done for most skins where that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's not.
The scuba one, they've just given him floating shoulder pads.
It's just. I mean, he always has floating shoulder pads. Most of his armor is not physically connected to his body.
I guess that also makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he floats.
Everything about him is
makes things float.
gravity, anti-gravity, floating. Yeah.
God, Overwatch 1 default Sigma just has 0 drip.
What? Dude, I personally take offense. It's
Default Overwatch 2 Sigma?
Oh, you said default Overwatch 1 Sigma.
No, I said default Overwatch 2
No,
Sigma.
I heard 1.
Oh, sorry. I guess I cut out.
Default Overwatch 2 Sigma is just Dookie. It's
Yeah.
I mean,
he looks like he looks like a floating D20.
They just took a belt sander to him and just polished everything interesting off.
Yeah. But in polishing him, the things floating around his head broke into 4 instead of 3.
Right.
It's so strange.
Before the galactic skin came out, I literally just used his default skin. Cuz that was the best skin that he had as far as I was concerned.
Also, they've removed the shape of Sigma, right? He's just a Dorito now.
He was always a Dorito.
No, but less so. He was like a bulbous bird in Dorito.
What changed? Oh, with the Overwatch 2 default skin. Yeah.
The Overwatch 2 is just a lot more angular.
He's a lot more angular. He's not meant to be angular, you're right. He's just sort of round. He's like gravity. It's round. Makes things round.
Yeah. Angular and weird. And his face is smaller in Overwatch 2.
That is also true. What did they do to my man?
They fucking caved his skull in. They've made his brain concave. Oh god. They've literally put a black hole in his head, sucking his head in.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe the black hole that was in his head...
There's a lore explanation after all.
The black hole in his head has just started to make his head fucking concave.
By the time we hit Overwatch 3, the man's not gonna have a head.
It's just gonna be a floating black hole on shoulders.
Yep.
That's a skin
Not
I would
even-
play, actually. That's a
that's a skin idea right there.
That's a
has
skin right.
a black hole as a head. I would play that.
Yeah.
With like a projection, like kind of like Echo, where like his face would be projected, but you'd see a black hole behind it.
No, just have it
Oh
a
my
black hole.
God, that'd
No,
be
just have it a black
horrifying.
hole. That's all you need. You just literally have his voice come from a black hole. That's it. You don't need any sort of projection, just a black hole.
Yeah, but if you wanted to do facial animation, you'd do it through a
you
projection,
wanted
even
to.
if it's only the eyes and the mouth.
If you wanted to, but I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't do that with his Talon skin.
No, but that's the only skin
Yeah,
where that's the case.
I guess. But I would just love a skin where it's literally just a black hole. His head is just a black hole. They could even
That'd
do
be cool.
they could do like the gravitational lensing effect.
And it wouldn't obscure much of his actual character design much.
No,
It would still work. There you go, Blizzard. We made a skin concept for you. Hope you do something with that.
that's like a quality legendary skin.
Even a mythic skin would work with that.
Yeah. What kind of star do you want to make?
Could
his
have worked
head?
for this mythic skin, not gonna lie.
What kind of star do you want to make his head? You can make it a black hole. You could make a yellow main sequence. You could make it a blue hypergiant. It's up to you.
You know, if I knew what most of those were, I'd probably agree.
Make it a binary star.
Okay, so for the longest time, I wanted his hyperspheres to be a binary star.
No, that would be a cool thing
So,
to go for.
so like, because like, you just fire them and they go supernova. So
That'd
you
be fucking
you-
cool.
you
that would have been a good customization option for the mythic skin.
get like the
I'm
nebula.
surprised
effect.
they don't really do anything with the animations.
Yeah.
Yeah, did they change any sound effects for him?
They changed the sound effect when firing the hyperspheres.
Oh,
When
And
they fire and or
for
explode, they're slightly different.
all his abilities do. Maybe not the barrier. I know his rock and flux have slightly different sounds.
The flux is like an aerial strike laser.
Oh, yeah, the ultimate. Yeah, the ultimate is the whole, like tractor beam, which I think
Yeah.
is the coolest part of the entire skin. His grasp also they did change. It's like it doesn't sound. It's not like a different type of sound. It's just like a different sound.
interesting.
Where it's like if you compare the two, you can tell they're different, but they both are the same type of sound. So it's like it's like a second take almost.
Here's my question though. How much of like, because like the thing with I believe I've told you this. I think that the fire sound, like the primary fire sound for Sigma, is perfect because it's actually a reference to black holes. But I don't know.
I think they've added to the sound that it makes. Don't think
Okay.
they have taken that away. I think they've just added like a stormtrooper.
Yeah, it's like a
Fire
laser gun, sort of
Oh.
like pew pew, sort of like as the
Okay, that's all right.
orbs shoot out.
I mean, I guess my question is like, do the changed sounds still like retain the kind of creepy feeling of Sigma?
That's a bit.
Yeah, I would say so. They're just a bit different.
probably
a bit
judge
more
the best
science
yourself.
Fiction-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair, I guess. Because I was gonna use it anyways. Yeah.
Well, are you even going to be able to unlock it if you don't play the game?
I was planning on playing it later.
Okay. As long as you get that skin.
Ness and I were talking about this. We were like, we are gonna play this season, and then I don't know what happens next season. But if it's not good,
And then you'll never play again.
we're just not gonna play it.
We're just
Oh,
gonna
man.
complain about it, even when not playing.
Have you ever thought about moving on from Overwatch?
I have actually.
I've considered it, but like, I always end up getting pulled back for something.
Yeah.
Such is the way of the modern gaming industry.
Like right now, what I'm thinking about most is Armored Core 6.
Yeah.
That's what's on my mind. So
I've just been playing indie games and Dark Souls 3.
yes, Ness has been playing Dark Souls 3.
It's good.
Have
Are you having fun?
I am having fun.
It's a mindset thing. He finally realized that Dark Souls is half of Dark Souls is the mindset.
It's literally the Danny DeVito meme. It's like, I get it now.
Yeah, it's just you
It's-
have to give yourself over to the fact that this is going to be goofy as shit.
No. Like, it's like unlike many other games, it's not a power fantasy, and
No, it's
you're not trying to win at the game. You're trying to look at what Miyazaki is trying to fuck you over with next, and you are trying to laugh at him instead.
Yeah. As you say, it's a conversation with Hidetaka Miyazaki.
It's a conversation with Miyazaki.
Yeah, that's about right.
Actually, they changed the voice line for Sigma's ult while using the skin normally as well now.
What?
They did, yeah. With the Starwatch update, they gave new not sound effects, but voice lines for all the.
Yeah, but now
skins.
when he uses his ultimate in the skin normally at all, he uses that alternate voice line.
So wait.
Yeah, that's how all the new voice lines are. Even in quick play and competitive, all the heroes that have Starwatch skins now have new voice lines with them.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
You fucking terrified me. I thought they
What?
changed his like default Sigma ult lines because I was about to have a heart attack.
I mean, not the default. Oh, actually,
No, only
it
with the
seems like
skin.
it's random which one you get.
Yeah, I've noticed, at least in Starwatch, that there's actually a couple different variants of his ult line. I don't know how it works in like quick play though.
Well, I'm doing it in the practice range now, and he seems to randomly flip between the new one and the old one.
What does he say now, Ness?
Het universum buigt voor mij, which is the universe bows to me, or bows for me.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good line. I like it. It's in Dutch, so I understand it, and it makes sense in Dutch too, so it's fine.
If you're on his team, does he still say, "What is that melody," or what does he say?
Pretty sure he does.
Oh, okay.
He has a new line.
I
know
haven't
in
checked.
Starwatch, he has like all new lines for like ally, self, and like enemy. I don't know if all of those carried over into the, normal modes.
They might have.
They might have. Hope they did.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I know some ally lines are different. Like I know Winston has like new ally lines that I've heard for his extraterrestrial skin.
Right.
He does?
Yeah, he's one where he makes like a UFO pun.
Ugh.
Like unexpected flying object. I forget what exactly he says, but
It's very monkey, very Winston.
it is very monkey.
An extraterrestrial
Baptiste has some
flying
cool ones.
object.
Soldier has new spawn voice lines whenever he spawns in with the like soldier skin for the
Now he's
Empire.
angry in space.
But I don't like the fucking goatee they gave him. What was that about? What is,
Soldier.
yeah.
I didn't like it at first either, but it's grown on me. Like it's a style, and it's a unique style for him, and I appreciate that it's something different.
That's fair. Well, we got anything else?
Do we? Any topics left?
No, I don't think so.
No?
Unless we want to come up with something.
I mean,
We're gonna maul about them nerfing Mercy again.
we are going to go back.
Actually, I don't want the 2 or 3 comments we get to be on fire.
We're gonna be doing our obligatory Kiriko rant. No, just kidding.
No, we skipped that one. We got our Widow rant in.
We got our widow rant.
Yeah, you gotta have at least one of those two.
Yeah, one of the two. Actually, no. Let's bring back Kiriko, but in like the worst way. So Lifeweaver's personality is what Kiriko's should have been.
I disagree with that, but in terms of what was said earlier, where it's like annoying but in a good way, yes.
Yes.
Like he's annoying in a good way, but like he's a nice, likable person, right?
Yeah,
but he's annoying.
Yeah. Yep.
Is he likable?
I think he's kind of likable. I think he's weird, but he's
Sort of
likable.
likable. I mean,
I find him just off-putting, but in
I
like
know
a
people
satisfying
in
sort
real
of way,
life
kind of like
that-
Moira is.
I know people in real life that are almost exactly like him.
Yeah, but do you like
personality-wise.
those people?
I mean, I'm kind of like, you know what? I'll tolerate them. They're kind of funny to watch from a distance.
Okay. That's very different than liking a person like that.
I mean, he's just like
I know people who have friends that are that person.
he's just like your archetypal mega crunchy guy. Like he's just like your archetypal guy who lives in the fucking woods and like
No.
has never heard of processed food. It's like
No, bro is
I
former
don't
rich
know that.
person.
okay, that's true.
Yeah,
He
he
gets
comes
the-
off
he
as
gets-
like...
Former rich person turns into criminal. But like not really.
Yeah, he's not very criminal. He's like
No, he's criminal for like his government doesn't want him to exist kind of way.
Right.
Which even that whole aspect of his character just feels sort of odd to me, making him a
does.
criminal. He doesn't feel like a criminal type.
No, he's not a criminal. He's a criminal to certain countries, right? Like,
Right, but
this
that's
is-
still a criminal, and like he doesn't seem like someone who's like dodging the government.
Really?
You know,
Okay.
like what is he hiding out in like warehouses and stuff? No.
No, he's
You know this guy's living in a fancy place that he has to be
Actually,
paying
no, we
taxes
don't
on.
see where he goes or what he does in
But just
current time.
his appearance and his like lifestyle and the type of person he is, there's no way he's like squatting somewhere.
he
hidden.
just builds himself a house in the woods. That's literally what he does.
He builds
But
a
even
house.
that,
out
he's
of
not like an
firelight.
outdoorsy person. He's like
Actually, no. The one appearance he has
botanist.
the one appearance he has with current timeline is outside. So I guess that works.
I mean, I guess he has that thing where he's like walking through the forest.
Yeah, he just lives
Yeah,
in the
I don't know,
fucking woods.
I do not see him as like an outdoorsy type person because
Maybe-
he's way too clean.
Maybe he. I
be
mean,
like
maybe
that
he is
type
an
of person.
outdoorsy type. He just like his light powers let him just like avoid dirt. I don't know. He just builds himself a
That's-
hard lighthouse.
That's just weird. That doesn't like it doesn't read that way, you know, in terms of like his character.
I don't know. He's a weird character. He's hard to read.
He's a bit of a goof.
He's
yeah.
a bit of a goof.
He's a bit of a goof.
So
I think he's a good goof.
you'll think he's a good goof. I think he's all right.
Yeah,
Um,
I like him more than Kiriko. I'll give you that.
that is not hard. I have known like, you know, assholes on, you know, like Twitter threads that I have found more likable than Kiriko.
Because at least you'll be sympathetic with them.
Somewhat, yeah. Oh god, we're not gonna start. We're not gonna start.
No, not Twitter.
Not Kiriko. Not Kiriko. We're not
Yeah,
doing
at least
that.
Lifeweaver has like some grace to his obnoxiousness, you
Yeah, he
know?
does.
It's like you don't
Owns
like him. He's annoying, but he owns it and he's so good at it and executes it so well that you just have to respect him.
Yeah.
Kiriko is just a truck crashing into a wall with you right in the middle of it. Like there's nothing appreciable or convenient about that whatsoever.
It's not a truck. It's a dump truck. There's no grace. There's
Burning
shit
tar.
flying everywhere. It's on fire. It stinks like hell, and you're like, God, get me out of here.
Yeah.
It's a car crash you don't want to look at because it sucks.
Can we quote that?
We can.
Kiriko's personality is a car crash that you don't want to watch because it sucks.
I mean, kind of true.
You're not wrong.
Like, you know, Kiriko's personality is a dump truck ramming into a concrete wall. Lifeweaver's personality is like a sports car going over a ramp and then hitting a building.
Right, the key difference being with the sports car, you're watching from like a grandstand, whereas with the truck, you're between the truck and the wall.
Yeah. You're pretty much next to the dump truck. You're smelling it. You're dead, probably. And if you aren't, you wish to be dead.
Yeah, that sounds
Like,
right.
with the sports car, you're like, oh, this is like a pre-planned thing. There was a ramp and everything. No,
You're like, ooh, like it's
That's
all
kinda
exciting.
cool.
You know that like intention and effort went into it. It might be catastrophic in the end, but it's like, wow, that was like a cool thing someone did. That's pretty neat.
yeah, that's a
Kiriko's
fucking
just an
cool
accident.
That's a cool catastrophe right there.
Oh god. Yeah, we should probably stop here before this
I
conversation.
think we found our intro clip.
Yeah, we did find our intro clip.
The
So
outro is the intro.
we found it. But
When you're at our most delusional.
yeah, I mean, we better stop here because otherwise the conversation that we're about to have about Kiriko will end up in the recording, and nobody wants that.
I'm sure some people want that.
They've
but
heard
we
it
might not
before.
want that.
We
might
Ian,
not want
Ian might not want that.
I had a fantastic comment on one of my live streams. Let me find it real quick.
Was
Wait,
it
a comment on your live stream, so it's like afterwards.
Yeah,
They-
it was like
they watched the
afterwards
VOD.
when it was the VOD. Yeah.
All right, what did this highly intelligent specimen comment right after this VOD? I wanna listen.
Maybe this should be our closing quote that we always have.
Okay, so this was on a live stream where I talked about Kiriko, not extensively, but I think I just mentioned that she was annoying. And there was a comment I got. Okay, here it is. Master Ian has sarcastic and annoying writing IRL, much like Kiriko. And I thought that was such a funny comment because I so rarely see people just try to like attack me in that sort of way that it was hilarious.
He sure tried.
They're like, they tried. There was intention because they drew it to the Kiriko comment. So it's like, okay, like I said something that set this person off, which is just always
But like,
funny to me.
they're not like attacking you in a way that'll like hurt you.
No, it's just like, and I'm not even sure it's like an insult.
It didn't sound like an insult to me. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just the one that makes you think, you know. It sticks with you.
You read it and it's like, a person wrote that. Curious.
A human being sat down and typed that onto the internet.
Okay, I'll be honest. Sometimes I also question afterwards what the fuck I just typed.
That's fair. I think
I'll hit enter on a post and I'm like, why did I type that?
I think we all do that except for Ian, because there's no way that Ian posts the stuff that he does over and over again without some sort of self-reflection. So,
Well, if he doesn't
if I
self-reflect, someone
didn't-
else will do it for him.
Yeah, if I didn't filter the content I put out, I wouldn't still be here today.
oh boy, the things that the rest of the world will never know. Just be thankful.
Sometimes I'm a little too, let's say, medicated to realize what the fuck I just post.
Yeah, that's fair. But anyways, I think we're done here, right? We gotta.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have anything else crazy to talk
We're
about.
hitting like exactly 2 hours. This isn't bad. This is good time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else, Ian?
No, I think that about does it.
All right. Well then, Ness, you know what time it is.
Oh god, I don't have anything funny to
You
say.
should just start before we record with what you're gonna say.
I mean, I've been too physically ill to come up with one lately.
Give us a Kiriko line. Give us another.
A Kiriko line?
Give us something about Kiriko. That'll do it.
Just how do you say it? It's like, I think I've found a decent analogy to watching Kiriko's personality again. It's like a conversation I've had with a very, very old man that came into my supermarket. It's where he tries to compliment you by directly being racist.
Okay. So there's our line. Anyways,
I don't think that line should be in the video.
why you get? How? Why?
I don't know. It's a bad one.
It's not a bad one. Then give us something else.
I don't have a good one.
Okay, so we're not gonna. So we'll leave it in then.
Ugh.
Okay. Well, bye everyone. We'll be back sooner, I promise.
You say
Goodbye.
that.
No, we will.
You'll make sure of it.
I'll make sure of it. I'll drag both of you.
He'll snap his fingers like Thanos, and he'll snap us into the recording room.
What are we going to talk about next time?
Whatever. I'm sure Overwatch will fuck up again, so we have something to
And
talk
we also
about.
we still have that list, remember, of like leak tier lists in like classic modes. Yeah, we have that. So that's it. Bye.
Bye.